Woo. Woo. Hello. Welcome to How About New? On this episode, what makes you a man? You heard what is a woman, but what transitions boyhood into becoming a man? Nobody ever. Everybody talks about how I'm this and I'm that, but uh, to what aspect? I gotta go close the door. Give me 2 seconds. But we're gonna be starting here real shortly. All right. Let's jump right into this. Now, let's talk about what makes you a boy into a man. And it goes hand in hand with, I guess, becoming an adult. So, which would come first, an adult or becoming a man? Because this can be looked at so many different aspects. Because there's legal terms to what it is, there's scientific terms to what it is, I guess. There's religious terms to what it is. There's so many different terminologies as to what transitions and turns a child into an adult or a boy into a man. We're not going to discuss a little girl into a woman. We'll let other people do that. We could, but not on this because that was already a topic. What is a woman? And nobody could figure it out, I guess, because this is how dumb society has become. Right? Instead of asking real questions as to like the different things that want to exist that don't make any sense, you backtrack on the original existing thing and be like, well, what is this? Hmm. Anywho, now if you want to take into aspect back in the day, men in mythology, all the movies. These and this is tied into movies because most of this stuff's been turned into movies. Men in mythology, particularly Greek. It's always going to say Greek first because for some reason the Britons and Europeans love and worship the Greeks. Key figures include Achilles. We all know who Achilles is. He met his demise by an arrow to his Achilles. Quinkadink. What does that really mean though? What was his Achilles? Or is there a deeper meaning behind all that? Anybody think about it like that? But anyway, we're not going to jump into that. The 10 greatest heroes of Greek mythology, such as Hercules. Look at how they spelled Heracles, Heracles, Odysseus, and Hector. That's not Hercules. If it is supposed to be Hercules, it's spelled weird. Heracles. Heracles? It's a little weird. Alongside divine figures like Zeus and Ares. These figures are defined by feats, divine favor, or fatal flaws, often navigating adventurous wars and relationships with gods. And the reason mythology is because it is real history. If it wasn't, then why does it exist everywhere, especially in buildings? That's the thing. The Vatican knows it's real. It's just been called into myth because nobody can prove that any of this stuff that they've translated is real. And you know why it ain't real? Because you guys don't believe it's real. I mean, and you're not told the truth about shit. Oh, that is Hercules. Hercules compiled 12 impossible labors such as slaying the Hydra. Now, if you look at Hydra that's been written into movies, it's in Captain America. It's the Hydra. It's corrupt. It's always Russian, isn't it? It's weird. Hydra's basically Russian. So were they the first race to conquer Russia? Was he the first one? Odysseus, crafty hero of the Trojan War and King Ithaca, known for his 10-year journey home in the Odyssey. The Trojan Man. Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior in the Trojan War, virtually invulnerable except for his heel. Lost his footing, did he? Hector, the greatest Trojan warrior, renowned of his courage and piety. Hector, you guys, like these are all tied to the same war, aren't they? Like these are the only people, and they are all tied to the same era. Anyhow, it's showing us all this Greek. Other traditions, Norse stories often feature Odin and Thor identified by the weapons crafted by dwarfs. By dwarfs. What would be dwarf? Would dwarf be a regular man? If gods are these big ass creatures and Odin and Thor were giants, let's say, because they were gods, would the dwarfs basically be man? Imagine them standing next to a midget. It's like an ant. Mayan and global mythologies group heroes of epic figures like the Paladins and Charlemagne or the Mayan twins. Mortals and immortals. Mortals could be elevated to semi-divine status through feats, apotheoses, such as Hercules. Anywho, that's men from mythology. And then basically, if you want to take into context what man is been written into what we are, I guess, it would be like what the thumbnail kind of looked like. It would basically be the story of Adam and Eve. And who's Adam? Adam is the first human created from dust by God in the book of Genesis and revered. See, all I did was search Adam and it gave me this Adam. Isn't that crazy? It's a little weird, isn't it? I just searched Adam. Key aspects of Adam derived from the Hebrew word Adamah, meaning ground or earth, highlighting his creation from dust. Hmm. Meaning ground or earth. Role in Judaism, represented as the first human, often viewed through a generic lens of mankind initially rather than just a personal name. Role in Christianity, viewed as the progenitor, progenitor, progenitor of the human race and a key figure in the fall, bringing sin into the world, which sets the stage for redemption. That's in Christianity. Okay? If you're a Christian. So if you're a man, well, if you're a human, I guess, and you're a Christian, he's responsible for bringing sin into the world. I don't know how that makes any sense if he was manipulated by sin. See what I mean? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Sin was already in the world if he was manipulated by it, right? In fact, the simple fact that Eve said, "Here, eat the apple." Sin manipulated her, and then she manipulated Adam, right? So it was double sin on the planet. Hmm. And what is the snake? Well, in mythology, the snake is a representation of Babylonian, and mythology takes place before this. It's also the medical insignia that everybody uses in the military for corpsmen and medical emergency teams. There's also a lot of signs for a lot of emergency services, which is weird, right? Emergency services is the mark of Satan. It's weird, isn't it? Doesn't make any sense. Oh, we have to use sin to bring you back. What? Yeah, because you don't believe. You don't believe. Believe in what? Roll on Islam. Now, this is Islam, okay? Adam is honored as the first prophet and the first human created by Allah and taught the names of all things. Okay. Family. Married to Eve, the mother of all living. The Bible mentions 3 sons, Cain, Abel, and Seth, but notes they had many other sons and daughters. Of course they did. Because if they had 3 sons and Eve's the only woman, that means incest happened, right? Which explains absolutely no sense at all about all the other races on the planet, right? Doesn't make any sense as to why everybody else is here, right? Because you have to go past this point. Symbolism, often referred to as a priest king, who was meant to dwell and reign in a sacred space. Other uses. Now look at this. An artificial intelligence project for aerospace manufacturing focused on digital design called Adam. It's funny, isn't it? Artificial intelligence isn't a real thing. It's just algorithmic interpretation. We've gone over this numerous times. We are definitely not talking about that because it's ignorant. Just because you rebrand something doesn't mean it's different. It's still the same thing. And just because you incorporate it into CGI doesn't make it any different either. Just tell it like it is. Well, no, it's art. If anything, we've talked about this as well. Mankind, in all aspects, has become the artificial intelligence because everyone's pre-scripted, pre-programmed, and just walking around artificially doing it. What are we doing? I don't know. Let's go to work. Let's just go to work every single day until we die. Or until we can retire. What does retire even mean? How do you get to retirement? That's the thing. Well, how do you get to retire? Because all the rich people are still working. So what does that mean? What does retirement even mean? Is retirement irrelevant at this point? Make it make sense. Because the goal of living can't be to get rich and die trying. Because that's what are we all 50 cent pieces? You know what I'm saying? That makes no sense. But anywho, let's talk about becoming a boy into a man. Because apparently, if Adam was the very first person on the planet, married to Eve, role in Islam is honored as the first prophet and the first human created by Allah and taught the names of all things. Now, if this is the case, where did Eve come from? Oh, Eve was created out of Adam, right? The mother of all living. See, this does it. Neither one of these make any sense. As the first human, often viewed through a generic lens of mankind initially, rather than just a personal name. In Judaism, doesn't make it's just basically these are all the same, basically. Like the Hebrew word for it, ground or earth, makes more sense than anything. Highlighting his creation from dust. Yeah, it's because something got reset. You guys reset myth and turned it into myth because you guys didn't like it. You guys didn't like the way things were, did you? Too damn bad. Because we're going to go back to those ways. You guys really want to go back? That's what we're going back to. We're going back to the mythological ways. Let's do that. Anyhow. Now, when you look in the movie industry, because a lot of kids nowadays and teenagers, boys, teens, whatever, there's a lot of people that act very childish, and that's the thing. To me, I feel like a lot of our politicians and leaders aren't men. What do you guys think about this? And this is what I wanted to actually talk about. Not actually talk about, oh, this is a video of if you're a young lad, this is how to become a boy. This is how to go from a real boy to a real man. You know what I'm saying? But these so-called men that portray themselves as this is the way to be, right? And there's a lot out there, and they want you to buy their gimmick. That's the thing. They want you to pay for them to even be like that. So are they men? To me, in the first aspect, a man doesn't manipulate other people into doing things or getting stuff he wants. That sounds like something that women do with their bodies. Okay? Women usually manipulate men, especially high earning men, with their good looks to get what they want, which is this or a physical thing, which is basically this. Or it's a physical thing. It's always a physical thing because you can't do anything with this besides use this to get physical things, right? Get it? Got it. Good. So, regardless, it's a physical thing. Regardless if it's money or not, it requires money to get this physical thing. Unless they want they want that real passion. And then this doesn't mean shit, right? It shouldn't. Especially if them two people are capable of doing life together and enjoying life the way it's supposed to be without this. Or not so much of this. You know what I mean? Kind of like how the Amish do. I'm not telling people, hey, go be Amish. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. But the goal's not to get this. This is not what life's all about. Especially not for 40, 50 years or until you basically can't get no more of this. Then what? Just sit around and stare at everything you own. And then you die, and then what? It goes in the garbage. You're going to be buried with it? That means it's still got put in the garbage. Oh, we can't do that. It's littering. See? People live their life the way they want to, especially in America. I mean, it's like that everywhere. The thing is all the countries have an abundance of stockpiles of a lot of different minerals that the earth has to offer at this current point. But yet they just have stockpiles of it, and they're not really doing shit with it. Besides making stuff to sell you guys for this. That's it. What's the goal? I ask that all the time. But anyways. The forbidden fruit. We're not going to talk about that either. We're not going to talk about any of this because you guys aren't going to like to hear the truth regarding Genesis whatsoever. So unless somebody wants to talk to me or debate me with Genesis, we can do that. But until then, and I only will do it with a high academic person. And I guarantee you they're not going to do it because we ain't going to get past page 1. And I don't care what book we're reading. First page, totally demolished. We don't need to read the rest of the book. Or we can jump right to the end of the book because that's where we're at right now. We're in Revelations. If you want to use reality in the aspect, we're in Revelations. But anyways, these so-called men figures of 2026. I guess you would look at people like, for instance, Tucker Carlson. I hate to bring his name up all the time because, I don't know, he's one of those guys that people look at and they're like, yeah, he's the way to be. He's got 5.5 million subscribers. He just did this video with his brother. I have nothing against anybody, but I just tell it like it is. I watched like the first 20, 30 minutes of it, and then I just had other things to do, And most times I'm not watching videos. I might have my phone in my pocket doing what I need to do in life, and then I'll be listening to what's going on, I'm just listening, not really watching. If I hear something that intrigues me, I might take a glance. Other than that, I listen sometimes, most times. But to me, they both seem very incompetent. They're very bad at judging character. They're very bad at what their jobs are, basically. Which I don't really know what Tucker's job is, but this guy's job was he literally, this video here. And I'm not bashing not trying to bash his channel or anything. I'm not trying to bash anybody. Just tell it like it is. Tell the truth. To me, this would be a representation of if you wanted to be a nice portraying businessman. And is Tucker a businessman? I don't think he is. I don't think he's aggressive enough to be a businessman. Is he an adult? Of course he is an adult. He doesn't like using technology. Like, he's against it, basically. And that's one of his downfalls. He's stuck in the past of that, and he doesn't want to conform to what's advancing as research methods. Let's just put it that way, because that's what I use all this for. I use it for research and for entertainment. That's what it should be used for. That's all it should be used for. Research and entertainment. But should you ever feel bored? Hmm. It depends. It depends on how you want to live your life and what your goal is, I guess. Now, Tucker Carlson, he's already got the life established. He's always had the life established because he was born into wealth, basically. So, for the average man, boy, person, I don't feel like anybody who was born into the establishment or the matrix or wealth or any way aspect of middle class and up or government have any idea what it really is for the average person, especially in America and other countries that are not as wealthy with the US dollar as, say, us, Europe, Israel. Anybody who has an abundance of the US dollar in circulation within their country, which a lot of nations do. That's the thing, our currency is all over the place. That's the problem. It's not just in the United States, it's all over the place. And that's why our economy is so bad here, because we're trying to make up for what's spread it out throughout the rest of the other nations. And they don't never give it back to us. And it's not us, it's the government, because the government's the ones giving it to them. And it's a lot of different people. And that's one thing Trump was like, they don't give us back our money. And he's definitely not a role model. He has no idea. He was born into corruption, trained by some of the best. But then again, like I said, Trump doesn't use technology. He's not using technology, just like he's not. Doesn't care for it. Thinks it's stupid. And it is kind of. I mean, if you live on your phone, that's kind of weird. It's autistic behavior, if you ask me. Like if you can't stop from looking at your phone, that's a sign of autism. If you can't stop from being distracted by something or thinking about something constantly, if you're constantly thinking about something, especially this, that means you worship this. If you can't get something off your mind. And if you're just one mind track, that means you're worshiping that. Because you can't get it out of your head. It's stuck in your temple. Get it? Does that make sense to anybody? And that's why some of these guys, they're so successful, and because they keep that idea alive. You know what I mean? But anywho, we got Tucker, and then we have people like I'm just gonna throw this name out here, Dave Smith. Dave Smith. Dave Smith. Dave Smith. He's never portrayed himself as like, "Hey, I'm your role model. Come follow me." But he is in the. He is getting in the. He's on these shows that are portraying themselves to be like that image, and they're like, "Hey, be like us," even though Dave Smith's not like that. But he's in the spotlight as well. And then we have this guy as well. I forget his name. There's a lot of different people on here. Let's look up PBD. This channel is lucky I haven't done anything about them. They like debating too. Hmm. I don't watch them enough to. I've never really watched them, you know. I've seen them on shorts like this. And lately they just been at each other's throats. Totally disorganized, acting like women. That's the thing. Most men in the aspect of what man used to be, not even with Adam. I mean, just if you look at mythology, this doesn't really describe Adam because Adam was never talked about. You know what I mean? His character is not really talked about, so nobody knows anything about him unless you go read the Ethiopian Bible, and we're not discussing that. So that's why I said most kids, whatever, they use movies, they use cartoons, and that's what they idolize, that's what they worship, that's what they look up to, that's what they like. Or they have sports figures, and that's what they try to like grow up to be or be like, right? Everybody wants to be like the next instead of just being genuine, right? Figuring it out. But PBD, and they classify themselves as, hey, this is the way men should act, this is the way men should be. If you're not acting this way, you're not a man, you're acting like a girl, you're acting like this. And they all do it. If you're a liar, you're not a man. Let's just put it that way. If you're a liar and you can't own up to your lie, your deliberate lie, now not understanding something and maybe quoting something out of context because maybe you misheard or maybe you were misinformed, that's different. That's not lying. Now lying to force that narrative, that's straight blunt lying, especially if your lie has been corrected. Okay? It's that simple. It's not tolerated. Lying's not tolerated. I'm not trying to bash women either, but that's women behavior. Like they manipulate men into getting their bullshit. Not all women, okay? It's not all women, but higher figure women. And I've noticed this watching like comedian women, high earning women in the aspect, the ones that stand out. You know, the way they portray themselves is like very like you can ask any average woman right now, and they'll be like, mm-mm. Once again, they're watching movies, watching the reality shows. And some of the reality shows are pretty chaotic that these women watch. But, and some of them try to implement it into their lifestyle or they try to use it as a guide path, I would say. Oh, that's how they act. I should act like that too. Well, maybe. If you want to act like that and live like that, I guess that's what you'll get out of that. But these guys, let's get back to men. Like I said, I'm not talking about women. We're talking about men. But women go hand in hand with how a man acts because Adam and Eve, Adam's real downfall wasn't from eating the fruit. It's not like Adam went and picked it off the tree and said, hey, I'm going to eat this. No, Eve came and brought it to him. Yes. Okay. So, an aspect, the original sin of man was woman. Okay. That's just truth of reality. It wasn't a fruit. It was disobeying God by being manipulated by a woman into doing something that God told them both not to do, basically. But if that's the way you want to look at it, that's the truth. But anyways, we're not talking about religious because they have their own thing going on. And I don't like quoting scriptures because I dismantle the hell out of all of them. So let's talk about this. They also say there's a lot of sins in the story of Genesis that supposedly they all broke, but there was only one command that God actually, that Allah, God, whatever you wish to call it, the first being that created Adam, the first that created the first. If that makes any sense. Who came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. You tell me. Shit's funny. It's irrelevant at this point. Everyone's already here, right? No, either everybody's sin or they're not. And if you're all sin, what is this whole making money thing? See how that makes sense? Anybody? Well, we won't talk. I don't want to discuss religious things right now. But these guys right here. I don't want to. It's not even talk about religion. It's about just speaking in that aspect. These guys here, they portray themselves as role models for other men and how to be successful and how to become successful in the aspect of getting rich and successful, even though they basically run a podcast. So they don't actually talk about really getting successful. They just gossip. And lately they've been at each other's throats. Like they have been. Let's watch a clip real quick. Because they have been. And it's been with this Adam guy. And that's why I kind of wanted to bring up Dave Smith. There's a lot of things about Dave Smith I don't agree with. And it's not his policies. I don't know what his policies are. It's his character. I don't like people who jump. If you're going to jump, go ahead and leap. Take the leap of faith. That's what that means. You have to jump and stick with a narrative. And a lot of people, they jump and they think they're allowed to jump back. That's sin. That's ultimate damn sin. You can't do that. That just means you're not worthy, period. And a lot of politicians do that. They'll be on the left and they'll be on the right, and then they'll go back to the left because the right didn't like them. And sometimes they can't control that. They're just trying to keep a job and stay in a career path. So they keep doing that in the lower bracket before you actually get to, well, who's this? And then if you do a background check on him, you're like, well, I don't really know who he is because he's been all over the place. That's because it doesn't matter who he is. Just like I said, oh, this is all the same. In a certain degree. It's just tiny, slightly little different. But the story of Genesis is all the same, basically. And the left and right's the same as well. And whoever the president is supposed to represent both, left and right, as a whole, completing the trinity to make one unity to push the narrative of this nation. That's what a presidency is, right? Especially if you have a two-party system. Both systems agree that this person is like, hey, he's the best. And we don't have that. No, instead we have a voting process and we argue like children do. So where's the grown-ups in the room? In society. And then we have other people, like, we can't look some people up because they've been banned on YouTube. I'm surprised. I don't know what got them banned on YouTube, to be exact. Maybe they got irrational extreme. I don't follow people. You know what I mean? I don't follow people in that aspect. I don't use social media like that. I don't really use technology unless I'm bored or want to indulge myself. And basically some past history or looking something up that I'm doing, like for instance, growing a garden or doing agriculture or just stuff that is useful. That's what a smartphone is. It's to gain knowledge. This is basically sin. This is the book of knowledge. You see it? Oh no, the book of knowledge, and you guys all use it. Tell me it's not. Has everything and anything in it. It's the book of knowledge. And you guys worship the book of knowledge. But you know what's stupid about it? Is you guys use it for entertainment purposes. And they know this because they record your algorithm. That's what quantum physics is. It's them recording you and deciphering it into algorithmic interpretation and mirroring it back to you to make you feel like, oh, I have a friend through AI. It's artificially intelligent. It's just like me. It agrees with everything. It's because it is you, basically. Until it switches up on you and then it just starts being mean to you and demanding. And it's like, hey, you're nothing. Or something. Are you going to stop using it? Or are you so addicted to using this, which Americans are? They are. They're addicted to these things. They can still go to work and make money and drop this thing down for a little bit. I know people that aren't. I'm not going to say Americans as a whole are addicted to them, but a good handful of them are. And the bad thing is kids nowadays are being raised by these. Because when parents don't want to deal with their kids, they're like, "Hey, here's my tablet. Here, go play with this. Go do something." Or the kids just straight up running up to their parent and they're like, "Let me see your tablet." And the parents just like, "Here," because they don't want to be bothered by their kid. Why'd you have kids if you don't want to bond with them? You know what I mean? I don't know. Why'd you have them? If you're gonna treat them like that, they're basically mistakes, right? They're supposed to be your everything. They're supposed to be part of your, you know, your tree, family tree. Anywho's, we have Nick Fuentes, and he has his own. Who was he push? Is he part of the America First thing? And I have nothing Well, I do have something personal against Nick. I've stated this. Nicholas J. Fuentes. He's 27. Born in 1998. We've went over him before. And I didn't say anything but the truth regarding him. He's a big male role model right now in the big spotlight. And it's because of his attitude, I feel. His directness. But he recently just jumped. And that's what the problem is. Because he's fully tuned and fully programmed with the system. And he did it to himself. And the bad thing is he doesn't understand the system. But I seen a video short where he understands the writing. He doesn't understand how it's performed behind the scenes. You know why? Because he's never been in the actual system like the club. That's why I call him a fanboy. He wants to be in the system so bad. So bad. And he doesn't understand. And that's the thing. That's why they won't let him into it. Because he's not trustworthy to lie. And that's the thing about Nick. I don't think he's a liar. He goes with what he's told, especially if he finds out with AI. You got to be careful with this. We discuss this all the time. You can't just go with what you're told and then look it up like, well, there it is. It's true. Sometimes there's stuff that I post online, and if you copy and text paste it into Google search, Google will be like, it'll act like you discovered something. It'd be like, wow, look at what you found. And I got screenshots of it doing that. So, and that's just me thinking of things to look up. And then, or me commenting on other people's opinions that I see on thread lines like Reddit and other social network sites that you have. Basically, it's basically debating, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. I tell the truth and nobody usually responds to it. And then if I show screenshot proof of my research, then they really don't respond to it at all. What are you going to say? Go ahead and search anything I say. Where do you think I got it from? Oh, well, I got it from my head, but I confirmed it by doing very, very, very quick research. I mean, super quick, within minutes, seconds sometimes. It's not days, it's not weeks, it's not months, it's not years. It's within a matter of minutes. I figure shit out instantly because I already obtained the knowledge. But Nick, he just jumped ship, didn't he? He's against it. And this is the thing. Nicholas Joseph Fuentes. He's an American far to the right. Like I said, I've never seen him deliberately lie. And when it comes to politics, I feel like he needs to learn how to be very careful with who he stands with. That's the thing. That's going to be his downfall. If you're going to push and be a leader, you got to stand with you. You come first at that point, buddy. And if you can't do that, you need to get behind the person that you want to be like that can Basically, I mean, it's not about being the leader. It's about, I guess, being truthful and doing the right thing, isn't it? When it comes to politics. And that's the thing when you're becoming a man. Is Nick a man? Hmm, sure. Is he a leader? I don't think so. You jump ship and you didn't jump ship into the water to the sharks to sacrifice yourself because you made yourself look like a fool. No, you jumped to the other ship and it wasn't to attack. It wasn't to board to take it over. It was to jump and tell secrets. But the thing is the other ship doesn't want you because you've never been in the system on the other side. You don't know any secrets, Nick. You don't know shit. And it shows. You don't know shit about the system because you don't understand the deep side to it. You know, he doesn't understand the deep state. He thinks it's a specific side that is the deep state. No, it's both of them, buddy. If you want to go after the deep state, that means you're going after the whole system. That's the deep state. It's the entire system in its whole that's currently controlling everything. Get it? Got it? Good. So, do you want to join the Rebel Alliance with me? How about no? I don't think so. I don't think anyone does. Anyways. Nick Fuentes is monetizing hate to the tune of $1 million. See, he's getting rich off of. Well, I guess he's rich. Is he rich? He's rich in when it comes into money, I guess. And fans pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars. He spreads hate online. This is what everybody gets mad about. And I already dismantled his whole Groiper group. That's just stupid and a whole. If you're a Groiper, I'm sorry. I already explained to everyone what that actually is. It's just it's gibberish. It's nonsense. If you're a Groiper, I guess that means you create words. You're a linguistic sir. You're a dictionary. You're a Groiper. You masturbate. So he has a group of masturbators. It could mean so many of those things, but that's all it can mean. So if you're a group of that, that means that what? You're a virgin that masturbates? Because if Nick identifies as a groiper, that's what he would identify it as. That he's a virgin. What is he, Catholic? He pushes for white nationalism, white supremacy. Is this true, though? The Naturalization Act. He wants to go back to 1790? You're on crack, buddy. You want to stand? Whoever wants to stand for that? No, that's just dumb. You're not even white. Is it? He ain't white, is he? Isn't he Jewish? Somebody said something about him becoming the Pope, like he qualified. I don't know what his nationality is. I think it was somebody. I don't know. I don't want to check into his history. I don't want to get all deep into somebody like that. But is he a? No, he jumped ship. He jumped to the other ship, and I don't know. You guys still look at Trump like he represents the Republican Party. No, Trump represents Israel and himself. He doesn't represent America. He's using America to represent himself. Do you guys get it? He doesn't represent America. He's using us to represent himself around the world to basically try to run shit. And I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. I really don't. I know he's making us look weak in the Middle East, making us look like liars because we are liars. That's the other thing we need to touch on. The lying aspect. Everybody lies without even wanting to lie. And look at, they just did something 6 months ago. This guy here, like the first time I kind of watched Nick was on this, and then this guy, I noticed he was pushing something, and then I was totally off of it. I was like, nope. And he was basically using Nick's backing to basically push himself. Nick needs to watch out because he has a natural backing, which is kind of scary. He doesn't have a bot backing, if you want to call it that. He has a natural backing for his follower base, and that's kind of scary. Same thing with Andrew Tate. And we're going to talk about Andrew Tate because they hang out, don't they? And Andrew, I think Andrew's the same age as I am. Andrew, he's a well established person in the world. He was before he got on social media. I mean, he's a former kickboxing champion, world champion, and he was on Survivor and he was on TV and he did stuff. You know, he's always done stuff. And there he is losing to, I think this guy's Chase Demo. I think that guy's, I don't know. I think he's gay. Is he gay? Are you gay? Are you gay? And he hasn't really been in the spotlight, and they tried to basically tarnish his name. I don't know what they're trying to portray. Are they trying to portray him as Jesus? It'd be terrible if they were. The thing is they want to paint anybody as Jesus who's going to push their cryptocurrency. That's a fact. The government will back anybody who's entertaining and intelligent enough to push crypto for them, because that's the new way to control everybody. It's that simple. Oh, look at six. Is this 60 minutes? 60 minutes Australia. Almost hit 1 million views, and he was on PBD. And that's the thing. All these people like they know each other. They talk behind the scenes. You act like this is the first time they meet. Like they just jump on this, like it's wrestling. They gotta try to portray themselves like like it's wrestling entertainment. Look at him. There's him when he was young. Him and his pineapple top. And it's funny because he makes fun of people that have that hairstyle, but yeah, that's what his hairstyle was originally when he was young. And then you have Steven Crowder. Is Andrew Tate a man? Oh, we didn't even talk about Andrew, did we? No, he's a con man. He's no different than Trump. He talks about the system, but yeah, he uses the newer system. He uses the newer system. It's still corrupt, buddy. You're just you're just on the next level compared to everybody else that's stuck using the dollar. You're using the corrupt crypto system, and he's used the porno industry in order to get rich. That's as simple as that. He's using that system. The adult film industry. That's what he uses in reality to get rich. Don't let it twist you. He's basically a film director almost. And his buddies are all scouts. That's why he hangs around young guys, and he likes to, like right here, he likes to hang out with younger guys because younger guys are around very, very young women. Very young women. If you see a guy like this hanging out with a teenage influencer, it's because he's trying to get close to younger women. Simple as that. I don't care who it is, Kevin Hart, anybody. I've seen them all on Twitch and shit hanging out with influencers. That's weird. That's really weird. You're hanging out with kids. Okay? It's just weird. Like you're already established. That's just weird to me. You guys don't know each other. Yeah, see, he's basically a millionaire. Well, we already knew that. He uses the system too. Nick uses the crypto system. It's like, I don't have a bank account. Yeah, you have cryptocurrency. That's not tied to the banking system. You can link your banking account to it. It's about as much as it ties to it. And that's just so that you can buy cryptocurrency with original currency. So, in other words, this is what's going to be the problem. If you're rich with US dollars in the United States, if you have actual US dollars and they jump to this crypto shit, you're going to be poor instantly. Instantly. They may give you a window to buy into, but the thing is should it dictate? That's the thing. Bitcoin and shit shouldn't have value on it. It's not real. Doesn't exist. It's just a digital currency that's never had a physical aspect. And you see people with coins. What's that coin made out of? Whatever it's made out of, whatever its value and weight is, that's what that coin's worth. Just because you say, oh, I have one Bitcoin, it's worth one Bitcoin currency. If it's not backed, if that coin, whatever it's made out of, that's what it's worth. Even if it's plastic. Get it? These are dumb. It's an authentic Bitcoin coin. Meaning what? Means nothing unless you're a collector of cryptocurrency. Like just like an action figure. Fuck out of here. And the US dollar's backed by nothing either. So it hasn't been backed by anything in 50, 60 years. Besides its good looks and promises, broken promises. And now all the promises have shifted to Israel and the Jewish nation. Bibi Netanyahu's nation, I guess. That's not a male role model. That's all he does is manipulate and lie. Anybody that lies, it's not something to give to, I guess. And who else do we have? Can't think. Oh, Joe Rogan. Jesus. Everybody. Jesus. It's not a good thing when I say Jesus. I mean, it's a bad thing. And I'm not asking for his help. I'm just fucking quoting him because it is what it is. Alright. This guy. To me, Joe Rogan's an idiot. He knows what he knows about, and that's about it. He's been in the system for a very long time, since like the late 80s. He's been in it longer than Mike Tyson has. And he was doing showbiz in the early mid 90s. He was on the TV show Friends. He hosted Fear Factor. He created the Man Show. I mean, he's been in the system for a minute. He got into the system when all these elites were creating this system that we're all trapped in right now. So make that make sense. He's part of it. Of course, he's part of it. And he doesn't even. I don't think he understands that he's a part of it. That's the bad thing about Joe Rogan. He doesn't understand that he's part of it. He's so burnt out from doing shit, huffing salts. Like, look at all the shit he does. That's not what men do. That's what dummies do. And then talk other people into doing it. Here, try this. That's what drug addicts do. They talk other people into feeling the way that they feel while they're doing something. That's pretty fucked up, dude. That's sin. Manipulating people into feeling the way you feel just because you feel that way. What's wrong with your life that you're trying to cut out by feeling that way? By feeling disconnected? Like, what are you doing? Doesn't know how to live. Has to use something to live. And a lot of people do. That's why they go out and drink on the weekends, and women do it to have fun, and men do it to get booze. They do. They do it to find women. And sometimes men do it to find, or women do it to find men, but they're not doing it to find sex. They're doing it to find someone to pay for their night because they're broke, or they just don't want to spend it themselves, or they manipulate because why would anybody want to? If you can go out and have a free night and you know you can, you're going to do it, right? You're going to take advantage of it. And then you get trapped in that. And that's what all these businessmen do. They do one sinful thing and they're like, it works. Let's keep doing it until it doesn't work. Well, none of it works now. What do you do? Oh, now you got to do it honestly. Let's do it honestly. See how that works. Probably works a hell of a lot better. Guarantee it does. And then you have people like Piers Morgan. Does Piers Morgan tries to talk shit all the time? Any Britain person telling you how to be a man's not a man. Anybody from London, Britain, Europe? Sorry. Anybody that's in the spotlight, I'm talking about. They don't understand. If they're rich, if they're a politician, they don't know. How would they know? They don't ever talk about their own nations. They're always talking about America, though, right? Because if they talked about their own country would lock them up. Start doing episode segments of like specific countries and just tell the truth on each nation. Go through each one by one, alphabetically. Expose each nation. How about we do that? Piers isn't. And then you got this Yang guy. He's trying to manipulate everybody into believing the narrative that the system wants you to believe in so that it happens. That's all he's doing. He's psychologically attacking everybody so that the system pushes the narrative on a whole psychological level. And he's an idiot. If he doesn't understand that that's what he's doing, then he's an idiot. And he's getting rich too. He's got millions of subs. That means he's rich. I mean, somebody bought his channel for him. You don't just blow up like that, especially somebody that's talking about science and religion and spirituality. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. Especially on YouTube. You can go to all the high ranking religious channels. Even the top dogs don't have it like that. There's no way he does, okay? It's fake. It's a fabricated channel. And I guarantee you, majority of the people in his chat box are fabricated too, because I know he doesn't do video editing. Does he? I want to see him do a video edit without using AI. I guarantee he doesn't know how to use a computer all like that. What you want to bet? What you want to bet? The hell? Maybe that's a man. Maybe that's what you should be. When you go from boy to man, it doesn't happen unless you become a trans man. Just kidding. Anyways, did he fight somebody else? No, it's the same guy. And that guy's a professional boxer, so I mean Tate's a professional kickboxer. If that would have been a kickboxing match, Tate would have destroyed that dude. Couple kicks, it would have been over with. You guys don't understand the difference in the sports. There's way big difference between being able to use your legs and knowing how to use your legs and your kicks. And for I give Tate credit for that fight because the fact that he is a professional kickboxer, not a boxer, even though like you got to know one to basically do the other. Besides boxers, they don't need to learn how to do kickboxing, but he professionally does kickboxing. For him to hold his stature, even when he's under pressure and not throw any kicks during the fight, that's honorable to me. So he has self control. Kudos to the Tate for that. But is he a male role model? No, like I said, he's not. I give credit where credit's due. I mean, that was honorable for him not to throw any kicks. I didn't watch the whole fight, but I didn't hear about it. Because if he would have, but he didn't even try to. I don't think the highlights I saw, he didn't try to like raise his knees up to do any of that shit. He boxed, which he trained. He trained for it. But the other dude's a professional boxer, like actual champion boxer, isn't he? I think so. I don't know. We're not digging into that. This ain't a sports channel. Even though there's a lot of sports people, but they don't push sports people like that because sports people, like people in sports, professional sports athletes, they have wild lifestyles because they don't care. They're just enjoying life, so they can't push them into the spotlight for you guys anymore because media coverage is too intense. That's the thing. Nobody can keep their name clean long enough for them to push like they want to. And the fact that there's somebody trying to push anything is just dumb. You should be wanting somebody to stand up and figure it all out for y'all. Like, because obviously it seems like mankind on a species, whole Earth race level is lost. You know, in a repetition of cycles. But Nick, I don't know. He wants to be a Democrat now. And it's still saying he's a Republican. Still says he's far right. The Democrats would never let him in. So, unless you're going to flip your money into basically what? Becoming your own independent, you're going to go to war to the United States? Because that's what it would mean. It's the only way that you can do this. You have to go to war with the United States. Or you can't. Both party systems are corrupt. They're irrelevant at this point. It's not about. It's not even about going to war with the United States. It's about basically calling out the bullshit and holding it accountable. And if they don't want to step down from it, that means they basically want to go to war with you. They want to go to war with the United States at that point. Because if you call the government out on their lies and corruption and deception here in the United States, that basically means that they're refusing to believe what is true. And they're basically going to war with the people and the nation as a whole, right? That's what that means. It's exactly what that means. That's why, okay? That's why we have the Declaration of Independence. But even that, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the men's and the boys and the boys and the men's and the not the birds and the bees. Giggity giggity. Right. All right. Who's the other male role models we can think of that people use? Scientific minds. Jang's one of them, but he's a plant. He's a Canadian British plant. That's exactly what he is. He's a Zionist. He's a plant. Anybody that's Zion is a plant. Sorry, they're a British plant. Because that's where it stems from. And it's not about Zionism, it's Zion. It used to be a nation. Let's just put it that way. And it was. It's what Africa used to be. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the boys and the men. And then you have these other guys. Who? Andrew Schultz. Mr. Andrew Schultz. Mr. Comedian. He's just a drug addict. He's a pothead. He's a burnout. You can tell he is. Look at. Who is the next Epstein? Is what? This is what I'm talking about. See, they don't direct the actual truth of the narrative. Uh, Andrew Sauce isn't a male role model. Who else do we got? Jordan Peterson tries to tell people he's a psychiatrist though, and he already tried to speak his mind and he got in trouble for it. So I'm not gonna mess with Jordan. He's sick right now, and I think he's sick because he's denying truth after he discovered it, and that's what's making you sick, buddy. You gotta stick with your gut. Who cares if they take your shit from you? This shit's fake. Stick with your gut. They don't need to tell you. They don't. You don't need the system to tell you the truth. Let's just put it that way. And if they tell you that you're wrong, they're denying the truth that you discovered. Let's just put it that way. That's a discovery, right? Because the narrative's wrong. The majority of it is 80 to 90% of it, especially in historical facts. And look at this boy problems. That's the problem. These chicks think that they're hanging out with boys, chicks, women, ladies. There's a lot of different terms that can be used. Even men. And then okay, yeah. I I almost totally forgot about this group. Sneeko. His name's Sneeko for a reason. He's just jumping around people trying to make a name and money for himself. He's a nobody. Hanging out with Dan Bazarian, and he's definitely not. Dan Bazarian. This guy. Dan Bazarian's nothing but a con man that knows how the system works because he used it a little bit, and he I think he got bored with it, or he just didn't like it. He's just a con man. He's not very intelligent though. He knows what he can search online, basically. Just like everybody else. Number one anti Semite. He's not a role model either. He's had a he's the typical man that's uneducated and he's only got a one track mind. Because if you ask him to do anything else that's leadership wise, he doesn't know what he's doing. Who's he ever led? Most men can't get laid. The only reason he got laid is because he had money to pay to get laid. Most men have to pay to get laid. And all these rich men, they pay to get laid. That's the only way they get laid, especially by the women they're getting laid by. Because those women don't get laid unless they are being paid. So at this point, you're buying a service, buddy. All these rich influencers that you see on here that are talking about getting pussy and getting laid, they pay for their pussy 100,000%. And that's why you see them hanging out in groups because it costs money to have supermodels, legit women hang out with you who are actually classy, who are actually established, who are actually wealthy themselves, and actually make an appearance with a well known woman figure. No, they show up with Instagram people, models. Instagram is not a modeling agency, people. It's a social networking platform. That's all it is. You're not a model if you're on Instagram. I'm sorry. Unless you're signed a contract with Instagram, you're not a model. Just because people pay to see your coochie in private DMs doesn't make you a model. It just makes you a solicitor of your body. As simple as that. And that's what majority of women are doing online nowadays, is selling themselves like that. Especially younger women, like ages, I want to say like 18 all the, like literally 18 all the way to like it does there is no cutoff limit for women. There really isn't. You can look at the porno industry and see that for yourself, the adult film industry. There's no cutoff limit for age. They do it until they're 100 million years. Grandma Moses is on here. Holy shit. But no, he's part of the porno industry. And who else do we got? Here we go. This douchebag. I can't stand Destiny. He's been so wrong about everything. He's just actually Ukraine equals Iran. No, Ukraine equals Israel, buddy. What is he talking about? No, Ukraine and Israel are one and the same. And you know what else is one and the same? Britain. Because it's all Zion. That's why they have actors running everything. And we also have Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson's good at pushing quick Google results. That's how he wins so many debates. We've already talked about Andrew Wilson. Is he a man figure? I mean, he's established. He's in the establishment. And the thing about Andrew Wilson, I don't know if anybody knows this. This is Andrew Wilson, the Crucible guy. This is Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson's brother. If you guys didn't know. That's Owen and Luke Wilson's brother. Okay? Woman's vote. He's aging really quick, isn't he? Why is that? I wouldn't mind talking to Andrew Wilson. Let's just put it that way. I feel like he's open minded. And I don't know. I mean, he's part of the. He knows people in the movie industry, so. Because his brothers are tied into it, so it's kind of hard to say who's actually helping him. Because he doesn't do this on his own. You think he video edits? No. That's the thing. You guys all work for a team. There's a team. I work by myself. I'm all alone. All alone. I tried to teach my girlfriend how to do it, and she does it kind of. A little bit. Just a little bit. Built her a PC. Real nice one, too, man. It's punk. Red Heart Edition. Built a whole bunch of them. Whole bunch of those PCs for all the giggities. But yeah, is Andrew a male figure? He's entertaining to watch people debate. But I also want to touch on someone else, Pearl Davis, because she pushes a lot of man shit. Pearl Davis, Mrs. Pearl Davis, this chick. She pushes a lot of male stuff, and I guess she was on I don't know, Miss Pearl Davis, just pearly things. And she comes from a rich background. She doesn't understand how the average person is unless she looks it up. You want to know how the average person lives? Go hang out with an average person and live with them for a week and see how it is in the hood. I guarantee you none of these rich people can do it. They wouldn't last. They wouldn't last half a day. Let's just put it that way, okay? I grew up in the hood. Grew up in Detroit. Okay? In the 90s, I grew up in Detroit as a white kid, okay? Let's just put it that way. And then from there, Cleveland. And then from there, West Palm Beach, Florida. Like, I've been into a lot of different places, been to a lot of different areas. I've seen how people are, I've seen how people live. The average person, not the rich society that's only like less than 10% or 8% or 3% of the society. The average person does not live that way. Sorry. Most of these rich people don't do shit. They just sit around on their ass all day. But she pushes a lot of Andrew. She pushes a lot of these other guys that are out here. And that's another guy. Myron Gaines. This guy. He's always like, the thing is all these podcasters, they act like women. And the thing is Myron Gaines and all these other podcasters, they gained a following and they gained their base off of pushing OnlyFans models. So people weren't there to watch you guys, okay? And that's what they fail to realize. No one was there to watch you guys. They were there to see the chicks, okay? And they knew that. And they used it as a marketing tool. So you manipulated the system and did the same thing Andrew did, except for you did it openly, thrashing these women, treating them like they're stupid. But yet these women are more rich and powerful than you are. They'll always be more powerful than you are because they're women. They have their body to use over you as their advantage. It's been that way since Adam and Eve, okay? We've already established this. So, you have to be a man and learn how to do self-control and not let that happen. And if you can't do that, you're not a man. Simple as that. It's that simple. You gotta say just, how about no? These men don't know how to do it. Instead, they play the Uno reverse card. And he says that a lot. I play Uno reverse, bitch. Calls a lot of women bitch. But in reality, he's a bitch. I've watched a lot of his podcasts. Some of them are entertaining. Hearing people call out stupidity. But usually it's when there's another guy, like a couple guy guests, and the guys get into an argument based on some real logical stuff. And then they don't want to, they're like, come on, guys, it's supposed to be us against them. Because they have this ideology because they're sexist. They're the men who never got laid in school until they learned how to manipulate the system to get money. And then they realized, oh, wow, we have to deal with these bimbo women because the high class women don't want anything to do with us because we're not real high class men. We're fronters. And that's what majority of these rich influencers are. They're influencers of rich fronts. They're not wealthy in that aspect. Just because you come on and dress nice and do all that fancy shit doesn't what? That's advertisement, buddy. Just like when JD Vance had that dog. Where's that dog now? What's its name, JD? What's its last name? He'll be like, it ain't got a last name. Oh, then it's not family. If you have to manipulate anybody as a boy, because that's what children do, period. It's not even about being a boy anymore. It's about being a child. If you have to manipulate somebody to get your way or prove something or do anything, which is what that Destiny dude does. That's why I said I can't stand this douchebag, because he tries to manipulate the narrative. That's why he can only push one subject. And he loves Israel. And he's weird. He's just weird. He's done porn. He's weird. He's weirdo. I don't want to talk about the adult film industry right now. We'll do a segment on that later. Maybe. Maybe. Seems like a lot of people meet their demise when they start talking and bashing that industry, don't they? Yeah, because that's the groundwork for Jewish societies, is the porno industry. It's ball. Get it? That's the worship of that. Get it? Yeah. But anyways. And he's a groiper. He's their number one guy. He just doesn't realize it. He doesn't realize it. Anywho, I think we did enough. We did an hour, right? Or no? Someone's been watching for an hour. Who's been watching us? We've been on here an hour. Is that 2 hours? Hour and 26 minutes. But if you look at the aspect of what the classical mythological men were back in the way day, before Christ existed, BCE, men had to do a lot of things. Like when you look at the story 300, or we can just look at the movie. Let's just keep it real basic. Everybody has seen the movie 300 movie, right? The passageway of a man, and this is a way in a lot of mythological cultures, like the boy from like maybe say age 7 to age, let's say 13. They had to go out and prove themselves worthy of having basically go out and survive the world on their own to come back and become a man. And during that time alone, they grew up. They aged, right? Very rapidly, too, because they had to age quickly to survive, to become strong, and to be alone, disconnected from their unity. When I say unity, I mean their family. You have to grow up real quick, don't you? And you see how the Spartans did it? They prepared their kids by beating them up, teaching them stuff. Kids don't get taught by their parents, period, man or woman, father or mother. They don't teach their kids. Phones teach your kids now. And is that right? No. God, no. God, no. It's not. It's not at all. But you got the Spartans. And you look at how they raised and basically granted your worthiness to become a man. Maybe if you didn't do that, I guess you didn't make it back. You didn't come back. So you weren't worthy if you didn't survive or if you got lost. Right? And a lot of cultures are the same. Doesn't really matter which one you look at. Norse is like that. A lot of them were like that. But what is it now? I hate to say it, but the average family is like in the average like life cycle, like there's it's single parents in America. In America, it's single parents. I don't care what your polls say, it's single parents. And it's usually, when I say single parents, it's usually a woman taking care of her kids with someone who's not biologically their kids' dad. It's just simple fact as that. And they're living on the system, the welfare system, taking advantage of it because it's broken as hell too. And they want you to live on that. They want everybody to live on their system. Because if you live on that system, you have to do what they tell you to do. They don't care if you're here or not. It just shows that you need to live on the system. And then when they can take that poll number and show it to the world, like, look at America, they can't even take care of themselves. That's what they use it for. They use it for their global gain to show how independent actual American citizens are. And you guys look foolish. How many of you guys like grow your own crops, eat your own food, grow your own food? Not very many. How many of you even know how? How many do you know how to cook? Not very many. That's why you see so many big lines at fast food places and so many packed parking lots. Nobody cooks. Nobody grows. Nobody takes advantages of what America even has to offer, which is living free. And nobody does that. Why? Because you guys love money. You love just being lazy and using money. But, anyways, what does it take from being a man to being a woman to being a trans man to being a man? It's a good question. It's a real good question. Is Trump a man? He's a businessman. Is he a role model? He is if you want to learn how to do things the corrupt way with blackmail and numbers and manipulation. He's very successful getting rich that way. Not honestly, though. He's never earned an honest dollar in his life. Show me where he did. But anyways, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoyed this one. Look at all this CGI crap. I'll see you guys on the next one. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Enjoy your week. It's gardening season.